Did you know that machines built to be worn on the human body are already capable of turning ordinary people into something close to superheroes? Imagine lifting objects several times your body weight, walking effortlessly after years in a wheelchair, or working long shifts without fatigue. These aren't comic book dreams anymore. The age of wearable robots has begun, and they are rewriting what it means to be human, step by step, innovation by innovation. And the deeper we dive, the more we realize this isn't just about machines. It's about redefining the very boundaries of our existence, transforming what once seemed mythical into something tangible. What was once fantasy is quickly becoming lived reality. The revolution we're entering isn't just about steel, circuitry, or futuristic designs, it's about expanding human potential beyond anything we've ever known. Today, exoskeletons are moving from science fiction into reality, with applications that could change everything from healthcare to construction to warfare. And the most fascinating part? The breakthroughs happening right now will decide whether the next leap in human evolution is biological, technological, or a fusion of both. Every prototype being tested today is a stepping stone toward a tomorrow where human limits dissolve, and what was once an extraordinary feat becomes an everyday reality. Scientists, engineers, and visionaries are converging on the same goal: to reimagine humanity's relationship with its own body. Subscribe, like, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a glimpse of the future unfolding before our eyes. For decades, human strength has been limited by biology. Muscles can only endure so much before fatigue sets in, and injuries can alter lives permanently. For people with spinal cord injuries or degenerative diseases, the loss of mobility strips away independence and quality of life. In industries where heavy lifting is routine, back injuries remain among the most common and most costly occupational hazards. Even soldiers trained to endure the toughest conditions are vulnerable to exhaustion, strain, and injury. The problem is clear. Human bodies weren't designed for the escalating demands of the modern world. But wearable robots might be the answer, a technological extension of ourselves that changes the story. Imagine a world where no person is ever defined by physical limitations again, where age and injury no longer dictate the boundaries of what we can achieve. In this vision of the future, weakness is not a barrier, but an invitation to innovate. Exoskeletons are wearable frameworks powered by motors, hydraulics, and increasingly artificial intelligence. They attach to the body either partially or fully to enhance movement, strength, and endurance. Think of them as robotic suits that blend seamlessly with your natural motion. Medical exoskeletons, for example, are already helping paraplegics walk again, with companies like Rewalk and Exobionics leading the charge. These devices use sophisticated sensors to detect subtle shifts in balance or intent, then translate them into motion, allowing users to stand, walk, and climb stairs. It's not just a medical tool, it's a life restored, dignity returned, and a future reimagined. Families are witnessing loved ones walk across rooms after years in chairs, rehabilitation centers are reporting recovery outcomes once thought impossible, and researchers are beginning to see new pathways for neural recovery. Some scientists even envision combining exoskeletons with regenerative medicine, creating a hybrid path toward full physical restoration. Others imagine pairing them with advanced prosthetics, creating an entirely new category of human enhancement. In industrial environments, the demand is just as urgent. Workers in factories, warehouses, and construction sites face repetitive strain injuries daily. Enter exosuits like those being developed by Sarcos Robotics and Hyundai, designed to reduce fatigue by supporting the body during heavy lifting and repetitive motion. These suits don't just prevent injury, they could reshape the very nature of physical labor itself. Imagine a workforce where back-breaking jobs no longer mean broken bodies, where productivity rises without sacrificing health. That's not a fantasy, it's already being tested on factory floors, and the results suggest a future where occupational injuries could drop dramatically while efficiency soars. Beyond factories, exosuits may one day help farmers harvest crops with ease, emergency responders carry victims from disaster zones without strain, and astronauts adapt to the extreme environments of other planets. Picture rescue workers lifting debris after earthquakes or miners descending deep underground with robotic support systems to protect their bodies from strain. The military sees an entirely different frontier. DARPA and other defense agencies are funding projects that push the limits of human performance to the edge of imagination. The goal is not just endurance but superhuman capabilities, carrying heavy gear over long distances, sprinting with unnatural speed, even shielding soldiers from blunt force trauma. The vision is a soldier who is faster, stronger, and more resilient than ever before. Some prototypes, like Lockheed Martin's Onyx suit, are already proving that soldiers can move with greater efficiency while carrying loads that would normally be crippling. This isn't Iron Man. It's the future of warfare, unfolding quietly behind the scenes, with implications not just for defense but for national security and geopolitics. How wars are fought, how missions are conducted, and how lives are protected could be forever altered by this marriage of robotics and human biology. The ethical consequences of enhanced soldiers will likely echo for generations. But the real magic lies in how quickly these systems are evolving. Early exoskeletons were bulky, heavy, and tethered to power sources that limited their use. Today, advances in lightweight materials, compact power supplies, and AI-driven motion tracking are making them more natural and wearable than ever. Some exosuits are so discreet they can be worn under regular clothing, transforming the user without announcing the technology. Research into brain-computer interfaces suggests that one day, simply thinking about movement may be enough to control a robotic frame with perfect synchronization. Imagine a world where paralysis no longer means immobility, because neural signals alone could move a machine that becomes part of the body. In such a future, the very definition of disability could be rewritten, and the human experience itself could be redefined as we learn to integrate thought directly into technology. Already, experiments have shown paralyzed patients moving robotic arms with thought, a precursor to the exosuits of tomorrow. We're not just talking about tools anymore, we're talking about human-machine symbiosis, the merging of flesh and metal, biology and code. If history teaches us anything, once a technology crosses the threshold from cumbersome to seamless, its adoption accelerates at a breathtaking pace. Just look at smartphones. Within a single generation, they became extensions of ourselves. Exoskeletons could follow the same path, reshaping what everyday life looks like. Picture elderly individuals moving with the energy of their youth, people in physically demanding jobs retiring without chronic pain, or injured athletes returning to peak form thanks to robotic assistance. Students might one day wear lightweight exosuits to carry books or instruments, while hobbyists could push their bodies into realms of performance once reserved for elite athletes. Entire new industries could emerge, sports enhanced by exosuits, entertainment experiences where people simulate superhuman feats, or fitness tools that amplify endurance. Artists may even use exoskeletons to perform feats of creativity and physical expression impossible without augmentation. The implications stretch across every corner of society. If the idea of a future where human limits are rewritten excites you, subscribe, like, and turn on notifications so you can witness where this story leads. Let's not forget the economic impact. Entire industries stand to be transformed. Construction companies could complete projects faster and safer, saving billions in costs and lives. Warehouses might never see another back injury claim, fundamentally reshaping worker safety standards. Hospitals could drastically cut rehabilitation times for patients with mobility impairments, saving healthcare systems enormous resources. And on the consumer side, it's not unthinkable that one day, wearable exosuits could be as common as smartphones, tools for fitness, recreation, or even everyday chores like lifting groceries or rearranging furniture. The line between assistive technology and lifestyle enhancement could blur entirely, giving rise to a new class of wearable devices that augment humanity as casually as we now wear watches or earbuds. Think about parents lifting children effortlessly, older adults gardening without strain, or travelers walking great distances with ease. The technology could become invisible, yet transformative. The economic ripple effects could be just as powerful as the Industrial Revolution itself, creating entirely new sectors, services, and jobs centered on human-robot integration. Of course, no revolution comes without challenges. Cost remains one of the biggest barriers, with medical exoskeletons currently priced at tens of thousands of dollars. Accessibility is another issue. Who gets to use these technologies and who risks being left behind? Ethical questions loom large. If soldiers are enhanced with robotic suits, how does that change the nature of warfare? If workplaces demand exosuits to boost productivity, what does that mean for worker rights? And if consumer models become widespread, what happens to the definition of human ability? Could society create a divide between those who have access to augmentation and those who don't? These are debates that society must confront as the technology matures. Another layer of complexity lies in cultural acceptance. Will humans embrace becoming part machine, or will resistance to this change slow adoption? Concerns about identity, privacy, and bodily autonomy will shape the future as much as engineering breakthroughs. But one thing is certain, the The genie is out of the bottle, and there's no going back. To bring it closer to reality, let's look at some success stories. Patients once confined to wheelchairs are now walking at graduations, weddings, and family gatherings, thanks to exoskeleton therapy that gave them back moments they thought were lost forever. Workers wearing supportive exosuits report reduced fatigue after long shifts, some claiming they feel years younger by the end of a workday. In pilot military programs, soldiers equipped with robotic assistive gear have been able to carry loads far beyond natural limits while maintaining peak performance in grueling conditions. Researchers envision future sports leagues where athletes and enthusiasts alike use exosuits not for advantage but for participation, making activities inclusive for people across ability levels. Rehabilitation specialists are already designing programs where exoskeletons accelerate recovery for stroke survivors and accident victims. Engineers even foresee these devices entering homes, available as everyday mobility aids for millions of households. These aren't hypothetical scenarios, they're real people whose lives are already being reshaped by wearable robots, proving that the future is not decades away. It is here, in the stories of those who walk, lift, and endure, thanks to these machines. As we stand at the edge of this transformation, one truth becomes clear. Wearable exoskeletons are not just about strength, they're about freedom. Freedom from the constraints of injury, from the inevitability of aging, from the exhaustion of labor, and perhaps even from the limitations of human evolution itself. The next time you see someone effortlessly lifting a massive load or walking again after paralysis, you might not be watching a superhero, you might be watching the dawn of a new humanity, and in that moment, you'll know that the boundary between possible and impossible has shifted forever. If this vision of the future sparks your imagination, don't just watch, be part of it. Subscribe, like, and turn on notifications, because this is Tech Mythos.